Hey guys, Loman02, currently playing a game of Canadian Highlander. I'm going to be playing with 4CShift. I think this is a keepable hand. On the draw, it's very close though. It would rather have one more land over probably like a Radiant Flames or something like that, but it's got some decent game against a lot of different things. It's got all of its colors of mana, outside of being wastelanded. It's a little slower though. It's going to be like a mana dork. Looks like it. Okay, Utopia Sprawl. Interesting. Probably just going to play out the Underground Sea. I mean, if I get Wastelanded, I get Wastelanded. I guess I can play Bloodstained Mire out. I'm just going to play the Sea out. If I get Wastelanded, I think I get Wastelanded, and that's just that. But I really don't want to have to fetch for blue-red with my land. Okay. Alright, Remand. Well, we'll leave up Remand, and if we don't have to Remand anything, we'll probably repeal the Utopia Sprawl on their end step. Just to get deeper in the deck. I am going to get red here. I'm going to get Taiga, probably, yeah. Okay, found my land. Cool. I am probably going to remand their Utopia Sprawl if they go for that. Play out the DRS here. I'm not going to memory lapse it. I think that would be... Well, I could memory lapse it. Actually, yeah, I kind of like that now that I think of it. The reason I like this is because now I can use their Misty to Sky Shroud claim, especially if they don't make a land drop here. We kept very similar hands, my opponent and I, and how they were going to play out based on draw. Alright, Valakut, not the best of lifts. We'll go ahead and Sky Shroud claim here. End up playing out this and this, I want to say. I am going to play the Valakut out, despite not wanting to have drawn that, but it's okay. And now we have Remand up to put this back in my opponent's hand. And I think we're in pretty good command of the game here. They got a little mana screwed here, and we managed to punish it with Repeal plus Memory Lapse. We know they're not drawing land this turn. They're drawing this card. And they're going to get it back in their hand again. Okay, Sylvan Library. Good card. Alrighty. Okay. Okay. Little Mystical Tutor here for Scape Shift. Let's just do a quick count. So we have 6 lands we can sack. We would like to get a 7th off the top, so we're kind of hoping for that because we can't sack out the Valakut. So, yep, escape shift. And let me pull this up real fast. Alright, yep, they're just going to concede it. They don't have a counter spell. Alright, so not using sideboards, obviously. Go ahead and resub it. Dispel is an interesting one I've considered taking in main deck. Just actually having a debate about Force of Will in the deck. I'm not running Force of Will, which is kind of an interesting non-inclusion in the deck. I just haven't found that. I mean, if I'm playing against a lot of like combo decks as a keeper, it's pretty good there, but I often find I don't want to give up the card for it. Alrighty. I'm going to look for lands here. Okay, I can't help myself on a drain. Yep, go ahead. Can't help myself. Too good. Okay, 3 visits. This may get countered, and if it does, that stinks, but I think it's worth trying to go for it. Tropical Island. Okay. Get a Bayou here. Yep. Guy like that. I think I'm going to say... Well, I'm not going to say go here. I'm going to DT. Could just get an Eternal Witness. That'd be kind of funny. I'm going to get Shift, though. I'm going to get the powerful card. Then I'm going to leave up Evasive Action, because I can Evasive Action for 4 next turn. Nissa on the following turn to find land drop into Ponder. And we have Abrupt Decay for the following turn as well. We don't leave that up here. This will put them in a place where they kind of want to probably play around my nonsense. They probably think, hey, he just DT. He's probably got some action. Okay, I am going to just preordain here, I think. Or, I'm sorry, not ponder. I'm going to ponder here. Yeah, I actually like all of this action. I'm going to put this last, this second to last, and I want to make my land drop this turn, so nope. I think I am comfortable taking the damage here. This way I can leave up Abrupt Decay and or Electrolyze and or Abrupt Decay plus Evasive Action. And the damage I don't think is going to be relevant here. I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel like it's going to be relevant. Okay, more lands. I'm just going to use this to find a land. Okay, I don't think there's more value in the fetch land at this very point in time. I guess if I drew up Brainstorm, I could regret that. So I'm just going to play this land out and say go. And I suppose at this point, it doesn't make a relevant difference if I play her out or not. I'm going to play her out and just leave up my counterspell. If they want to get her, they can get her. I'm not going to fight this, I don't think. Yep, you got it. Definitely not worth fighting. I suppose there's a counter-argument to just electrolyzing on their end step. This gives them more hidden information. It lets them know I probably only have one counterspell in hand. Okay, well, we're going to attempt to counter this. And it may get countered. But then we'll both... Alright, seed time. Well, that's pretty good. But they did lose their Jace, right? Interesting main deck card. Not one you see very much anymore. So they're probably playing Timewalks. Okay, do you have another relevant card to play? If they do not, that's pretty good for me. The seed time kind of effectively did nothing. If they can win this turn, they can win this turn. They can definitely go into some Timewalks if they would like. So I could have played this poorly by playing the Nissa out on my turn. I probably could have just left up Electrolyze and shown a lot more. I mean, given seed time was going to get me regardless, unless I had two counters, but maybe they would have still probably gone for it, I think. Their question's got to be, they're at 18, so they know if I have a land drop and I am holding the escape shift, and they're just going to cast like one massive thing out with no counter spell protection, that I can just get them. So that's probably the thought process there for the pause. I bet they do have a threat. That's kind of what they're going through right now. It's just like a prime time. Or it could just be like a big time walk. Alright, Green's seen for 6, so prime time is coming in. So we know they are out of counter magic. Another way I can do this, actually, no, this Nissa still is lethal, right? So they have to have pretty specifically, like, what? Spell Pierce would do it. Okay, they have the DD combo, but they are at 18, which is enough. Okay, I have a Mystical Confluence, which I suppose is a decent backup play if this line does not work. We're going to go for Nissa, Vastwood Seer, find our land drop, and then kill them. Okay, so I have my land drop. Yes. You get a basic. Flip Nissa. I actually don't think I want to draw here beforehand, because if I hit the Valakut, I guess it's not a complete disaster, right? Because then I just sack all these lands and it still works. Yeah, if I hit Valakut, it's still not a disaster, so I'll reveal the top. Okay, it's Eternal Witness anyways. Well, show me a Pierce. I'm gonna go for it. I don't think you wait around here. And this is 7, so it is lethal. Alright, Volcanic. Could stifle one trigger off of it. And stifle. Woo! There you go. I actually am not running prime time in this list either. That's another debate I was having with some folks. I just don't feel like it's right in here. I feel like you'd rather be doing this on turn 6 than that. I mean, not that prime time's bad, but I don't know. Like, I feel like once you include prime time, you want to put the DD combo in your deck, and it's actually kind of a slow combo. It's very good value. It's huge value. Like, it's 2 for 1. You know, and in this case, it's a 2 for 1 that actually kills very fast, but I just don't feel like quite as fast as having like a Tutor Engine style deck. Anyways, quick pause, guys. I'm going to go over the deck in here in a moment, and then I'll be right back, though, for that. Alright, guys, back. I'm going to be playing a different deck now. I'm going to be playing Suicide Black again, the deck that I also have been retuning recently. I feel like this deck has a little further to go than the other deck I was playing. This is a keepable hand. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's definitely keepable. It's got some removal. That was one of the worst draws we could have seen, but what can you do? Right now, at least. Tombstalker's fine later in the game, but it's not going to be great right now. The other question becomes, do I him or do I play a threat? I think I'd probably just play a Bloodghast out and say, hey, have a counterspell for it if you really want to. Alright, Bloodghast Arena. No one wants to counter a Bloodghast. No. There was a pause there, so they're not F6 on my turn. They F6 probably afterwards. No one wants to counter a Bloodghast. That's a feel-bad moment. Okey-doke. Go ahead, my friend. Hopefully they play like a true name Nemesis out and I'm able to punish that. No, it looks like there's no true name here. Alrighty. Well, we definitely attack in. See what happens. And at some point here, I am going to have to start throwing cards into the burn pile, right? I'd probably rather have this counter than him. Nope. Alright, maybe they just don't have counter magic. That's another very feasible possibility. Because I do think they want to keep the clock off their back. Okay. Alright, a Merchant Scroll. I wonder if they're running Ancestral in their deck. This is for a blue instant. It's a pointed card. Could get Dig Through Time. Could be another thing they try to find here. Could just find like a mana drain too. But if they find like a mana drain, I'm just not going to cast spells. Just sit back and, hit their board. Okay, Remand. Okay, well, they have a counter spell now. The problem with Merchant Scroll getting counter magic is now I just know about it, right? So I'm just not going to cast spells because I have lethal. I don't have lethal, but I have threats on board. Come on, buddy. Please, get in there. That's one of the things I dislike about Moto. They like auto-attack with the guys that must attack. I wish they just didn't do that. And if you went to attack and you didn't have it in there, it was like, cannot attack. You have to. It goes backwards then. I hate how it auto-attacks already. That just annoys the heck out of me. The hope is here they're going to try to use the Lumbering Falls to block one of my things, and I can get it in combat. If they just start going into Timewalks, I think that's okay. But I'm going to try to fight them on mana efficiency here. That's what I'm going to try to do. I wouldn't have actually minded. That's actually a pretty bad draw, probably, for this matchup. Feels like they're not playing a lot of critters, so I'm going to attack in with both these dudes. Say, hey, what do you got? Alright, they're not blocking. Okay, well, cool. I'm not going to play anything. I'll probably discard before I'll play into Remand here. Okie doke. Okay. Okay, so they have the Dark Depths combo. So they're going to have to double block this turn, because they could single block one of the blockable threats and still take two. So do they have enough mana to do that? No, they're short, right? Old Gutterbones Areno. Well, he's not attacking this turn, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump in there. Okay. team has been tapped. This looks pretty good. I'm just going to play the Gutter Bones out. I guess I could play around Daze to be better, but they're going to be tapped down, so they have to have Daze or Force of Will here if they want to get me on end step with the Dark Depths combo, so I'll just Diabolic Edict to them. Okay. And they're essentially down 2 land drops here. I mean, they did get it with Prime Time, so it's kind of free. Alrighty, cool. We know they have Remand and then 7 some odd cards in hand. I don't know. And they may be dead. We'll see if they're going to take a Time Walk turn here, possibly. Okay, Muddle for Time Walk. Yep. But they haven't done anything relevant, so it's just an Explore right now, which is, you know, it's possibly bad for me, but if they don't have threats on the board, it doesn't really matter that much if they Time Walk. I mean, they get a free draw step out of it, but they spent a lot of mana and resources to do that. I think Rashad import me now. It's another Time Walk, or is it like a Jace or something like that? Could be just another big threat. Okay, Time Walk, yep. That is Beacon of Tomorrow, so it goes back into their library. They could draw it again. But again, they need to figure out a way to probably both Time Walk and play out blockers and threats or deal with the board. Could be like an Upheaval in their deck, but Upheaval is not going to be as great. Alright, Nissa, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, untap. Another Time Walk. Okay, Regrowth on Time Walk. Cool. Got it. Interestingly, use the untap ability as opposed to attacking, because they do have to win the game, right? Okay, Coercive Portal is not really a worry. If they Time Walk again here, that's going to be rough. They still have the untap with Nissa, yep. Man, what is the next thing? So we know Remand is one of the cards in their hand. So the 2 other cards, I mean, one of them is probably a Time Walk the way they've played this so far. If it's Seasons Past, alright, that's a Time Walk. Cool. So Remand X are in hand. Homage, sure. Or Homage, however you'd like to say it. Yep, and you go. And did you hit one? Okay, Search for Tomorrow is not a Time Walk. That is not a Time Walk. So is the last card a Time Walk that is not Remand in your hand? You can't block out the damage so far. I mean, they can make a 4/4 and they can attack with the Lumberg Pulse. I think I kind of like, because I don't think they were short on mana. I think I liked exiling more cards and probably making a 4/4 with the Nissa on one of those 2 Time Walk turns they had. They have another walk here. Alright, Seasons Past is quite good, but they can cast none of that stuff, right? They've already untapped this turn, or no? Or have they not? Alright, they make a 4/4 and they're dead. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I think maybe they had another turn, depending on how they use Nissa. I'd have to really go back and relook at the mana. I think actually here they could have untapped and got another Time Walk turn, right? So unless I drastically misplay this. Alright, get him. I'm going to see the last card that is not... It was Primetime Remand. I didn't get to see another card. There was one card in there that was not any of the cards I knew about. Alrighty, so let's begin sideboarding. And we don't sideboard in this format, so my sideboard is moot. I tend to use my sideboards as junk drawers for building purposes, or I do play some folks who do not play Canadian Highlander but play 100 card Singleton, which is a boarded format. Yep, I'm going to keep this. This hand's fine. Not the best, not the worst. I mean, it's got a 1-drop, it's got a 2-drop. It's got a dismember for creature-based interaction. I am going to fetch here because I really don't want to draw more lands from this point. 4 is more than enough. Alright, Diagraph a Ghoul. Okay, search. Search early's good. Okay, swamp, one of the worst draws in the deck. So we're going to thin again. It's a pretty marginal gain for thinning, but it also fuels Delve, which is not irrelevant. Alright, Doughty Horde, just in case they play like a True Name Nemesis or something out next turn. Okay, the Wood Elves. Well, that card blocks for a turn. It's actually a very powerful card. It's a very powerful effect. You don't see it played as much anymore because it's kind of more of a value guy. But it is a good card. I don't think we're dismembering it, but... Okay, well, I think oddly enough, I am going to actually play this out. Underneath counter magic, they are blocking. Interesting. I think there's actually an aggro plan for them, because Dark Tutelage is going to be harder to remove. For their deck, I mean, it's not impossible in green, but the chances they can remove it are probably lower, because they're a less interactive combo deck. Rashad and Port, not really relevant against me. Now, they can turn on their Lumbering Falls if they want, or they can just take a Time Walk turn. Alright, Yavimaya Elder. Well... Get more lands, my friend. I want to get damage in. Okey-doke. Yes, I'm kind of throwing that card away, I know, but I think at this point it's just more important to push damage through. So they win, they're going to win in a pretty spectacular way, and I would rather get them at a low life total where we basically put them on the ropes. Yep. I guess I do have interaction. I should not F6 completely. Alright. Yep, it's a miracle. Cool. Okie doke. Temporal Mastery, obviously a fixed version of these cards because it does exile itself. Very, very powerful effect, though. Okay, they dropped a land in there, so they're good on lands, is what they're telling us. And they just need the manas. Okie doke. Sensei's Divining Top. Well, that is one less interactive card in their hand. At a minimum, it could be anything off the top, though. And they probably have quite a few shuffle effects, so we have to be a little leery of top. Top is a powerful card. I'm trying to remember if it's a point or not. It probably could be. It's very, very powerful. Especially like once you get into older formats where you have like fetch lands to shuffle. It just makes it a lot better. Alright. I think I do attack into the Lumbering Falls regardless of possibly losing one of my threats. I think that's okay. I think we'd rather push the damage right now. They don't want to block. Alright, I'll play this guy out. Okie doke. Play this guy out again. And I'll try to play this out. I can't cast the Gurmag Fish here without getting kind of blown out by cards like Remand. And I don't really care about the Phyrexian Arena, but if it resolves, it's great. It's more cards, but I think once they get going, they're just going to take all the turns, right? That's kind of how their deck functions. This looks like a time walk. Okay. Nexus of Fate. Got it. Kind of a functional explorer there because they're totally tapped out, have no threats, and don't have a card in their graveyard for search, and don't get to use Sensei's Dividing Top. So it basically operates as a functional explorer. They keep the card on top, so it's probably another walk or a threat. Alright, Rex Sage. Blowing up what? Probably the Arena. Okay. Yep, Arena does less damage to me than Dark Tutelage does. If their plan is to block, their plan's not to block. Alright, Sky Shroud Claim. Cool. So they still have to deal with the board. They got 2 forests here. I guess both their islands are out of the deck that are forests as well. Alright, I'm going to dash this in. This is a new inclusion in the deck. They could have Fog, like momentary, what is it, Moment's Peace. Okay. Okay, that's just it. Okie doke. Well, good game, man. Good game. We can try to get one more in right now. I'll try to do it with a different deck. Could do lands. Play Rug Xerox. I am in love with this deck. I think it's very, very good if they're down to play another game. On the draw, this is a keeper. It's not one you want to see, but it's a keeper. That's for sure. It doesn't have a one-mana cantrip is kind of where the buck ends. And starts and ends with this hand, but on the draw, your chances of drawing a land are pretty high. If we hit another land, we're pretty good, I think. Oh, wait a Force Spike. But I think, regardless of Force Spike here, I am going to fetch. I am going to find a Volcanic. And hope not to draw green cards, but green is the lightest splash. I'm pay out the Terramander here and say go. And if I miss, I guess I have Force Spike for their turn 3 play, but, you know, I think this... Alright, Ponder, cool. You can also leave up Force Spike, but this is an active deck. Like, it doesn't really want to leave up Force Spike without a threat down. Alright, Birdie Birds. Okie doke. Well, nothing to do. This is a risk of the hand, obviously. We're playing a 30-land deck, though. But we can also cast 2 of our spells in hand, which is not bad. Alright, Rashad and Port. Alrighty. I think I actually do this. I think I actually burn this card off just to fuel my graveyard right now. Yep, it still did its job. Tracking. There's the green card we didn't want to draw. Sometimes you get punished, right? It was a greedier keep. Okay, Jace the Mind Sculptor can bounce my Terramander if it likes. Nope, does not like. Let's hit a fetch land this time. Alright, wasteland. Well, that's bad for me. Would have happened regardless, though. So they find a wasteland and shut down that. Well, we're in some trouble this game. That's alright, though. There's game 2 and 3, right? Probably ditch the Bedlam Reveler. I'm not really in love with that card right now. It requires 2 double casting cost requirements in my lighter color. Do you want to just... We'll concede this one. I'll go to game 2. This is not going to work out. What are we drawing? Yeah, we were missing for many turns. Missing for many turns. No bueno. But 30 land deck, you can get punished like that sometimes. Yeah, this hand's pretty ideal. It's a keeper. I don't think I'm actually going to sleight of hand the first turn. Probably play out the Spire Bluff to throw it into Wasteland if that's what they want to do with their time. Yeah. Okay, go. Oftentimes, I mean, you see some players at Wasteland on turn 1. I don't tend to think it's correct. Okie doke. Alrighty, the Quirion Dryad. Nice old card with the old art, of course. We'll just yield to this because it's going to happen a lot. I'm going to wait on Slight until next turn. Yes, I can push more damage this turn, but I think it's better just to leave up Miscalc or to cycle Miscalc if need be. Or throw it to Misdirection. I will counter this. Alrighty. Take the bolt here. The bolt helps fuel the graveyard for the dig through time. And it also pumps up the Quirion Dryad. I suppose the Storm Chaser does as well, but if they have a 5-mana Time Walk, that would be probably the best for us. We get to misdirect that. Jace probably the pitch card in my hand at this point. I could have put them to 1 here, right? Been 3+1 off the Quirion Dryad, but I can't kill them this turn, so I'm just going to pretend to leave up counter magic here. If they cast one of the 5-mana targeted Time Walks, we should be in good shape. Okay, that's not one that we can redirect to ourselves. There's another one that you can, which would have been Savage here. Joke. They're casting the Delve one, I think, or a Delve card, probably. Okay. What does Jace do? They have to counter this because they're dead to the tireless tracker next turn. I have to bounce the tireless tracker. And if they try to counter that, I would just misdirect it, right? Alright, well now I have another hard counter, so I don't think there's much that's going to get them out of this, so I think we just attack for lethal. Alrighty, let's go to sideboarding. Let's resub it. And hope for a decent draw, kind of like we had this last game. Yeah. I think this is a pitchback, guys, and I'm going to have to stick with the next one probably. This is a mull, though. Alright, this is a keeper. I want to see land on top. But we do have, at a minimum, yep, perfect. Put on top. Alright, just get this thing going. De-incentivize any land destruction on their turn if they have like a wasteland or something like that. Okay, Coiling Oracle. Cool. Counterspell. Alrighty. They'll probably block here. Well, they may not. They may opt to race. Nope, they're not going to race. Didn't figure they would. Get it out of the way now. And play out the Dryad again. And we know they have Counterspell now, which is a thing. Okay, this guy. I kind of want to find land here, so I think I'm going to slight. I'm going to bottom that one, though. Yeah. This is a pretty big hit. They're going to get a lot of value off this, but they're going to take a shot for a lot of damage here. This is 8 damage off the top. Ropes, yeah, it's pretty big. Okay, the Wood Elves, cool. They take the damage. They do. Alright, so they have Counterspell up in operation. And in operation. Okey-doke. Oh, we're going to Vendilion click them on draw step here. And if they want to counterspell here, I think I'm okay with that. Yep, you got him. Or her. Cryptic command's not available. I mean, if they're running turnabout, they're running turnabout. Okay. Alrighty. And go. Okay, that's just it. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what I would have gotten there. So if I'd gone for it, could I get Days or Forceful is the question. It's top 7, right? Nope, I wouldn't have found what I needed in the top 7. Well, actually, I guess I would have been fetching anyway, so it's not really, per se, completely true. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the some of the play testing. Some of the decks I've already kind of showcased, and you get to see 4-color shift as well. Yeah. So anyways, guys, quick pause. I'm going to BS a little bit with Atom Combat here. Alright, guys, I'm going to be playing a more fun deck here. This is Storm. This is a keeper. This deck is a 28 land deck, I want to say. This is probably the lowest land count deck I play in Highlander. Alright. Okay. Oh, oops. Yeah, I should have played my land down. That's alright. We'll be okay. That was bad. I just failed to drop land there. Alright, fast bond, land, cool. We only have one remand in hand, right? At minimum. Brainstorm and try to hit more lands, cool. If they didn't hit any, that's really bad. Or they could just not want to take the damage, which is fine too. Alright, they hit 1 and they hit 2. So they have 2 non-lands on top of their deck. Okay, they could regrow with the Brainstorm and try to go deeper in the deck. That's very aggressive. Okay. Alright, regrowth on Brainstorm, try to find more lands. Get the beacon here. Okie doke. Alrighty, here you go, my friend. So they cannot counter anything right now, is what their hand is telling us. They can merchant scroll into a counterspell if they'd want. But we know they didn't draw because they just brainstormed last turn, and they would have played a land if they could have. It would have been damaged. They're going to merchant scroll to try to free up their top deck, I think. So we'll probably end up seeing here. Okay, what did they find? They found a counterspell. Okay. Alrighty. Well, did you finally hit a land? Yep, they did. Alright, all in. Alright, this is good for me, because I'm just going to win this turn, right? Because I know they don't have a pitch counter in hand. So I don't have to use the Cabal Therapy here, which is nice. Alrighty, so what we end up doing here is, I think, just this. We go Seething Song. Probably just get what Cabal Ritual? It's going to net the most mana. We'll just get up a little bit. I don't know what else they... Man, we know they drew a land that turn, so I probably should have just not slow rolled them. I accidentally went a turn beyond what I had to. Alright, so Tendrils. Alright, so let's go to sideboarding. So, you know they do have some counter magic, but we can't sideboard in this format. I probably, if I was playing this, if I had built this deck specifically for Canadian Highlander, I probably would be running Defense Grid main deck, but we are not. This hand's great. It's got some hand disruption. Yeah. I mean, it's got a ton of lands, but it's not going to draw a ton of lands because that's not what it does. It runs 28 of them, right? So it uses its cantrips to fuel the graveyard and wins that way. Well, we did draw another land, which means when this hand goes off, it's going to go off big. Okay. Well, we know what they drew for the turn. I'm going to save the fetch for a brainstorm. Yeah, my Elder, get out of there. Okay. And why not? I'm just going to quicken right now. Okay, CB on. Good card. Allows me to get rid of some of these nonsense lands in my hand. Okay, what was the draw? Alright, something good. Alright, Oracle. That's just powerful one. Alright, Temporal Manipulation. But they are Hellbent, so there is that. Alright, Urborg. Well, this draw has been interesting. It has been pretty poor, actually. So we know they're going to draw that, and they can time walk. They can play lands off the top. So we may lose here, actually. I mean, we don't really have... I mean, they don't really have a lot going on either, but like we have kind of drawn shitty this game. We've drawn a lot of lands in a 28-land deck, which kind of sucks, but what can you do? Let's take a time walk here. They're going to get to a Temporal Veg here. Or, not Temporal, Explosive Veg here. Hit us for 2 down to 18. And what is after that? Okay, Dark Depths. Might as well play it. It's a free land drop. Yep, Coiling Oracle. That's kind of whatever. I mean, it could be good. Depends on what's on the top of their deck. Okay, Explosive Veggies. We really just need one big payoff card. Like, a Time Spiral would do. Alright, Mystic Confluence is annoying as hell because I can't really pay for much around it. That's a good top deck for them as well. And it draws a bazillion cards. Okay, well, I think what we do here is, I think we try to go for it, actually. I think we do get our Volk here. That's not going to work, is it? We have to get lucky. So I'm going to make black-blue with this. I'm going to bounce the Cloud of Fey. Yikes. Well, guys, rough beats, right? Hit a lot of lands. They got a Treetop Village coming up, which isn't a huge deal. More so the fact they can draw 3 cards at any point in time is a big deal here. Alright, Nissa. But missed pretty badly there. Yeah. Just rough. I guess maybe they do not attack here. Here's their second turn off of the Meditate, right? Yep. Alright, windswept. They run a lot of lands. All right, well, they're not going to get wasteland at a minimum. That's nice. Okay, Snapcaster Reno. They're going to draw into Snapcaster Reno, I assume. Okay, Anissa. Could just start beating down on me, too. They're going to untap. Okay, yeah, just beat down. I like this. This is pretty good. I'm not blocking it. Not going to block it. You can go ahead and cast this now. And I get Snapcaster, I suppose, or they could bounce. I don't want to bounce my Snapcaster. That's rough. That's not what you want to be doing, I don't think. Okay, it is countered, and you have a Snapcaster. Nope. Nope. I am just dead here, but I'm gonna force them to do it. We'll see what they do. They do know what I got, right? Yep. Okay. Not gonna fire up the treetop village. There we go. Yep, that's game. Good game. I'll concede to that. Got a little unlucky there, but what can you do? That high tide turn probably had a much higher probability. We did have the probability of drawing that many lands that we did. I mean, we started off with a lot of lands in hand and then just drew into a bazillion of them. This hand's great. Time Spiral was kind of what we were looking for last game, something like that effect. So right now I'm just going to look for lands, is what I'm going to do with these cantrips. And I'm probably going to start off with, let's say, Serum Visions. Alright, I'm going to bottom snap, and I'm going to top the land, and say go. Okay, Utopia Sprawl. I'm going to do this first. I'll pick up a Snapcaster Mage over a Visions from Beyond. I'm going to do this. I don't need a land right now, but I do want one next turn. Alrighty. Okay, Preordain. Alrighty, Arbor Elf. Okay, Ancestral Vision, cool. This is only green, right? Yep. So, Peer Through Depths. Alrighty. Well, do they have a big monster this turn? Nope, but they have counter magic is what they're telling me. Alright, well, I have a Yawgmoth's Will, which is a pretty solid card, but I'm just going to say go here. Alright, that has a while left. Okay, they are going to attack here. I think they're short on blue mana is the issue with their hand right now. And I think we can possibly exploit that. Maybe have like a remand or something in hand. Yep, get in there, little buddy. There's nothing really on the bottom of my deck that I want right now from the stuff I put there, so I don't think I'm going to fetch yet. Okay, Brawl. Alrighty. That's still a turn away. Alright, they have double blue now. Yep. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. And what have we got? Another Time Walk, I assume. Yep. Okay. An attack with the factory. Or the treetop village, rather. Okay, well, I am going to do this, I think. I'm going to go ahead and do this right now. See what I can find. Take the mental note and say okay. All right. And can they combo off? Oop. Alright, Rashad and Port, that's annoying. Yep. Okay. You get Mystical Tutor. Probably a Mystical Tutor pull. And that can close them in on the win. Oh, Nexus of Fate. Okay, well, that one doesn't really worry me as much. Possible I want to try to go for it, but I didn't have the big mana on the last turn to go for it the last time I had a turn. Yep, drew it again. Cool. Alrighty. And I can just F6 through this turn, I think. We know they have another Time Walk, and they're probably going to use it here. Okay, Oracle is fine. Okay. Okay. Okay, counterspell, yep. Alright, counterspell and Nissa. So is this finally the turn they miss? In True Name, which is kind of just a beater. So we only have counterspell, which what do we force them to screw up on? Or what do we try to get them to screw up? Time Spiral is what I want to resolve. At the end of the day. Alright, part the Water Veil. God, these decks are so annoying. I'm sorry, Adam Combat. This deck is so fucking annoying. It is a complete troll deck. Yep, you got it. My deck's a combo deck too, but I've actually built blue-green Time Walks. I think it's an interesting deck. I just it's really not fun to play against. You're just like, Jesus, all right, go ahead. Did you get there? No. Okay, I win. Did you get there? All right, I lose. You know, it's just slow. It's very slow. But then again, I've played against a lot of Time Walk decks. I played a lot of Time Walk decks in my time, and yep. All right, yep. Alright, Homage, yep. The problem that I have with the Time Walk decks is they can never beat an aggro deck. Like, they just have absolutely zero chance against aggro. I don't think they can do it. Alright, this looks like another Time Walk of some variety, or maybe like a Genesis Wave. Could be Genesis Wave. We're going to see here real soon. They're tapping out for it, whatever it is. Alright, Emrakul of the Aeon's Torn. Well, that's lethal. I'll let him kill me with it. Yep, we had it next turn, but did not get the opportunity to. We'll try another one here. That storm deck is kind of also janky, but that was oof, God, time walk. Such a boring deck to play against. I'm sorry, Adam. All right, let's challenge him here, and we're gonna play this time. Could just play red deck wins, because I don't think that deck can ever beat it. But I don't want to be like a miser and be like, oh, here's red deck wins, buddy. Good luck. Do Sultai combo oath. That's an interesting deck. We do red deck wins. Just Blitzkrieg style deck. Yep, this is the sort of thing you sign up for when you play red deck wins. This is exactly the hand that does it. It's one of the challenges with like the combo style decks, like his deck, like Storm. Storm has a horrendous matchup against this style of deck as well. Just hyper aggro. So oh, no problems, man. Alright, yes, it's going to be unleashed. Alright, go. Should go for an Ash Zealot next turn. The funny thing is, like, the red deck wins is kind of almost like the Storm deck, in a way. It's just more consistent, right? I mean, it really is kind of, in some ways, like a combo deck. It's just, combos them out through virtual advantage of making their hand worthless against more efficient stuff once you play, so get some damages in there. Get in there, guys. I don't think you play around Counterspell with this deck either. If they opt to leave that up, yeah, they're not. I don't think they're going to. I mean, I just wouldn't play around it. Fast Bond, okay. Okay, Treetop. And that's it. Okay. I am going to fetch here because I really don't want to draw more lands. Just want to draw gas at this point. We can get remanded here too. And I think, again, that would be okay. Yes, I would like to play that. Or pay that, rather. Go aggro. Okay, capsize. Still lethal, right? Just in case it's not, I'm going to get my 3 in here, and then I can use Arc Trail to do the last. Like, if there's like some spell they have that, like they could have, what is it, like Nature's Claim on their own Fast Bond, maybe? Okay, nope, nothing. Alrighty, so, yep, no sideboarding. This is not a... This deck is actually built for 100 card, so it does not have a... It does not have the natural, or the non-basic land hate in it, like a lot of them do. Yeah, his hand's okay-ish. It's a keeper. I'd rather have a 1-drop over the Gitu encampment, but it's... I mean, it does technically have a 1-drop, but it's not the sort of 1-drop you play on 1, right? Okay, Utopia Sprawl, cool. Well, ask and you shall receive. Well, let's see if we can ring some bells here. Or strike some bells, or whatever you want to call it. Ash Zealot probably fine in this match, but I don't know how much graveyard synergy they're going to have. All right, 3 visits. Yep. Get to visiting you. I would play that out under most circumstances where I had like 1 to 2 spells in hand over the Ash Zealot to accrue later value. But I think right now we just want to put them under a clock, and I don't have spells in hand. Likely what I am to do next turn is just play out the Sin Prodder. That way if I do draw an untapped land for the following turn, I can Young Pyromancer plus Goblin Bushwhacker. Now, they can Time Walk here if they'd like. Alright, they have. I'm just going to put like a Time Walk under it. Alright, well I don't have Artifact Hate right now, so if they have a Time Walk, they can just get me. Okay. This is the beginning of upkeep, right? It's instant or sorcery card. So it could just be a Time Walk and we could just get locked out of the game. Yeah, you don't get to do it here. If it's a 5-drop instant sorcery, then... Actually, no, they do. They do get to do it here, right? Okay, 4. It is Explosive Vegetation. Okay, so they don't have a Time Walk right now. But they do get to look for some landage, which is good. They can only have a 1-mana... Alright, they get Islands. Okay. Okay, Forest. I actually did want that. That should be good enough, though. So, this dude. And this dude. And I think that's all she wrote, I think. I mean, unless they can bounce something here. Yeah, red deck wins. It's a turn 3, turn 4 deck, and it tends to put a lot of pressure on these more combo-style decks. Obviously, I don't play it that often. Red deck wins. I do kind of try to keep up on the list. This is actually not even a Canadian Highlander list. It's just a 100-card list. So it does not have points right now. Red deck wins actually, I think, is one of the few decks that can play a Lotus. I mean, it definitely plays the on-color Mox. Maybe a Jit you could play. You could play Jit, Lotus, or Mox. You could play Mox Lotus. Mox Lotus is probably the best split for it, like, because it's all about getting out fast, kind of like the Suicide Black deck. Anyways, I intended on doing this for I intended on doing this for this Scape Shift deck. This is a 4-color shift list. Right now, like I said, I have a lot of sideboards on my decks. I don't use them, obviously. I'm playing Canadian Highlanders. You can see I use them as junk drawer. Kind of, I use it for 2 purposes. I use them to get the unpointed cards out in other formats where I do not play the pointed cards, specifically the Power 9. This deck, although this deck right here is legal in 100-card Singleton, at least the format as it stood before, and it's actually, I believe, legal in Canadian Highlander accepting Mystical Tutor, or I'm not Canadian, German Highlander accepting Mystical Tutor. So leave the sideboards in case I am playing against folks who want to play sideboarded formats, and in case I need to pull out cards before game. But this is the list. So this is a 4-color Scape Shift list. It is pretty all in on the combo. Well, I don't want to say it's all in on the combo. It's pretty all in on controlling, and then it's pretty all in on winning with the combo. The only other way it can really win, I mean, it has won with just beating down with like Obstinate Baloths and Kitchen Finks. But typically speaking, it's, and the only other real win con is like Titania. The only win con that you expect to win with is Titania in the deck. Plus the actual Scape Shift itself. So the deck has like the best of ramp. You get to see, I don't have Explosive Veggies in this list. I do have Sky Shroud Claim though. I think it's slightly better. than Explosive Veggies. I believe Veggies comes in tapped. Sky Shroud Claim comes in untapped, which is the big difference. But it's got the 3-mana varieties in Kodama's Reach, Cultivate. It's got the 2-mana varieties, Nature's Lore, Farseek, Into the North. 3 visits, and Nature's Lore. Kind of sometimes too often overlooked older cards because the lands do come into play untapped with it. And then basically just a very strong control suite. Like the points in this list are in Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time, which is 2 points. Demonic Tutor, 3 points up to 5. Mystical Tutor, 2 points up to 7. Personal Tutor, 1 point up to 8. Merchant Scroll, 1 point up to 9. And then I have Mana Drain in the list as well, which is the last point. So that is how the deck is pointed right now. It has a pretty wide spread of pointed cards that are all generally lower points. I believe under the last rulings, DT was 4, so this deck would not have been legal at that point in time, but is now legal in its current form. And it basically just, it has the best of spell-type creatures like ETB-style creatures, mostly life gainers, because you're going to tend to get beat down with a combo control deck like this. And then just like the best tutors that are legal in the format and are either pointed or unpointed so that you can get after your combo pretty effectively. And you got to see it run there. I think a couple of the contentious cards, it's funny, I was talking to folks in the Canadian Highlander room trying to tune this list up even more. Force of Will is not in the list. I think in a more combo-heavy meta, you'd want to run it in this list, or you'd want to run Dispel. Like, Dispel is also quite powerful. I tended to find that, like, while I do have a lot of blue cards, I oftentimes did not want to lose my cards, and I could often set it up in a way that, they had to counter something on my turn, and then I could still scape shift them out regardless, or they had to counter something on their end step, and then I would scape shift them out on my turn regardless, or I could just get to 2 to 3 counter spells in hand and cast it with scape shift as well, i.e. like Negate, Remand. So I actually took Force of Will out and put Negate in. Like, I liked Negate better, just from a card advantage perspective, and at the time I was playing in a pretty non-combo heavy meta, where there's more control, and some folks would think that like Force of Will is great in the control mirror. I actually do not care for it in the control mirror because you're down a lot of cards. Obviously it's great when like you're going off and like you just need to get through like 3 counter spells. But I oftentimes find that, you can play in a way, because Control also needs to tap out at some point in time. Like, they need to not tap out, but they need to tap low to get a threat online. And if they, can't get a threat online, if they just decide to sit back on counter magic, eventually, you can just win regardless. I mean, you'll just win with your crappy creatures, which include like Kitchen Finks, Obstinate Baloth, Titania, the Deathrite Shaman, all these little kind of crappy dudes. You can win with Nissa, Vastwood Seer. I mean, just there's a bunch of like little guys that are in the deck that accrue value, but can also just swing. And I've won that way when I've played against control players who's like, I'm just going to sit on counter magic all day. I'm like, okay, cool, you can sit on counter magic. I mean, but like the true like control decks like tend not to have a ton of ways. They have like Path to Exile, Swords of Plowshares. They don't have a lot of point removal. They have a lot of mass removal. And mass removal tends to be sorcery speed, right? I mean, there's like Settle Wreckage and stuff like that, but you can just go to second main and then try to cast your spells under a lower mana count situation for your opponent. And the one thing that you generally can be assured of in control mirrors is that you're going to have more lands in play than your control opponent will, because you have a bunch of ramp spells that oftentimes don't suck down counters. And if they do, it's kind of good for you in a way, because you'll draw into more lands. Your 37 land deck, and spinning counter spells on ramp tends to be fine for you, I think. So anyways, just a pretty interesting deck. I do like this build a lot. I'm also not running Primeval Titan, which a lot of folks are like, why aren't you running Primeval Titan? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's another threat, but this deck already has a pretty high converted mana cost. And Primeval Titan doesn't win you the game on the spot. Like, it generally assures that you're going to win. Like, if in fair matchups, it assures you're going to win, right? Like, it gives you so much value that like they're probably not going to come back from it. But against unfair decks or against control decks, like, I don't think it's the hard lock that folks, think it is, like when you cast the guy. It's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. And like natural ordering into a Primeval Titan is probably the most common thing that folks do with natural order, outside of like Craterhoof Behemoth and the Cradlehoof deck. Those are probably the 2 most common things. I mean, it used to be like Progenitus was a thing, I think, at one point, not per se in Canadian Highlander, but in Highlander in general, because I haven't played Canadian Highlander that long. But I don't know. Like, I just didn't feel like Primetime was earning his keep in the deck. I was like, man, like, you get Bribery out of my deck, you just die to removal. Like, I don't really want to run the Dark Depths combo in this list. I feel like it's too clunky, and I would need to add 2 more lands, so I don't want to drop the land count down in the deck. So, I just didn't end up going with him. I based it more around the actual Scape Shift combo itself. And so far, the deck has worked out like a charm. It's worked really, really well. One of the other cool things is it runs a lot of basic lands, so like you're not stone cold to like a Back to Basics or a Blood Moon. You can still fight through that. I mean, obviously you need to remove them at some point, or you need to remove probably one or both of them at some point in time. Blood Moon stops your combo from working. But in general, you're not just dead to that. Like you can remove it. You have lands to still play spells. So yeah. And then I think I actually today was funny. I had another person ask me about Burst Lightning. Like Burst Lightning I put in here because it's just one of the most efficient burn spells, and it's just a removal spell. It's another fatal push. You don't have white, and you can't play Swords of Plowshares. Like your options are like Ghastly Demise, Dismember's an option, but this deck, like I said, takes a beat down pretty early. Burst Lightning's just good against aggro. It scales up well. It also, after one fetch land on the opposing side, puts him at 8 or one bolt. Actually, one shot to face with it, like one shock, puts him to 18, which means that you can kill them on 7 land, or when you're at 7 lands. If they fetch, you get them down to 17. But really 18 is kind of like the important number because you want to be able to kill them with just 6 lands in play. Correction, I'm sorry, 7 lands in play. Obviously if you want to get to 21, you got to have 8 lands to do that with Scape Shift, but. That is kind of the reason for the inclusion of Burst Lightning. So I think it's just one of the best burn spells at that range. Now, you could make an argument for Firebolt because it has recursion, but 5 mana is an awful lot to recurse a shock. It's not when you want it, and that's all you got to do. And like the attritional fight has already happened, and like your mana's gone, and their cards are gone, their mana's gone, their cards, everyone's cards and mana is gone. Like it's good then. Especially in like an aggro mirror or like kind of a tempo mirror. But Burst Lightning is just for the rate and for how it scales over time. Like I'd rather just be able to do 4 damage to any given thing because you can kill a Courser with it, whatever. Anyways, guys, that is 4-color Scape Shift. You got to see a range of games here against blue-green Timewalks. To include both 4-color Scape Shift, Suicide Black, my 4-color or 3-color Grixis Storm deck. And this year, and Red Deck wins. My build of Red Deck wins, which is probably not. I can pull that list up too. This list is more. I haven't tuned this list for Canadian Highlander because it still has a sideboard. And when I used to play this deck, I built it. This Red Deck wins deck. I built it specifically for a different meta, so it does not have Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon, or any of the and Price of Progress in the main. And actually, Direfleet Daredevil probably should come in the main too. Its card is very, very good. But right now it's built and tuned just to be the fastest fishing against any deck. So Price of Progress is very bad against certain decks. So is Blood Moon. So is Magus of the Moon. And the deck basically has a very reduced dead card count in it, based on like any matchup. So really, it just comes down to the best creatures, the best burn is kind of how this Red Deck wins is built at the end of the day. And, is it right or wrong? Yes. I mean, if you're playing Canadian Highlander, I think you want to play probably Price of Progress and probably at least Magus, maybe Blood Moon. You're never going to play Anarchy main deck in any deck unless your meta is like all white weenie. Pyrokinesis is an argument too if you're very aggressive or very mid-range kind of meta going on. Pyrokinesis can be good enough. Curse Scroll, I could see an argument too as well. This deck was built at a time where white was very popular. That's why you see the sideboard is kind of set up to beat up on some creatures. I even considered, I think, running at one point in time Disorder, which actually Disorder's in this deck. So it's Pyroclasm for white creatures. It's so great. Some people are playing Ghost Flame, stuff like that. Sudden Demise, this is set up to beat other white aggro decks. Because red aggro decks do not beat white aggro decks. So that's what it was kind of tuned for at the time in the 100-card format. At the end of the day, though, I think in general, Red Deck wins is a great strategy in any 100-card format because the repetition of cards that have been printed and the quality of gameplay, or the quality of the deck's statistical gameplay is very high. I.e. like your presentation rate over time, so it's basically just a curve tech deck that is going to pretty much do similar things each time, or should be very close to doing similar things each time. So it's very predictable, and in a way it kind of, it does the same thing the Xerox engine does. You can tell it runs more lands because it does need to hit its land drops. It doesn't have a lot of top deck manipulation. Like the Xerox deck, but it plays kind of similarly from the standpoint that you basically use natural probability of draw steps to build a statistical advantage of predictability in your deck. And that's and it's also just efficient, right? So that's why you kind of see like it tends to trounce the more hopeful decks, like UG Timewalks. Like it would totally trounce my Storm deck I was playing. And or like any just big control decks. Like big control decks tend to have tough times with these style of decks because at some point you have to deal with all the efficient little dorky creatures, and then once you've done that, you're generally tapped out, and then they just throw a bunch of burn at face, or dump a bunch of more dorky creatures, you have to do it again, and then you just burn them out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the Canadian Highlander / 100-card content, because not all of these lists are tuned up for Canadian Highlander. This list right here is missing any points at all. I don't know. I think I'd probably run I would probably run Black Lotus and Mox in this deck. I could see an argument for Strip Mine and Jit over Black Lotus, but I don't know. I've recently played Cube with Black Lotus in a red deck win style deck, and it was just gross. Like, I think I had a turn 1 Hell Rider. Turn 1 Hell Rider with Goblin Guide. I think it was like land, Mox Jet, Black Lotus, Hell Rider, and Goblin Guide. It was just like they conceded on the spot. So having the power of those sort of draws is pretty big. I would probably do it at the cost of lands, though. I'd probably just take two mountains out and put in a Mox and a Jet and be down to 32 lands. And I'm sure the deck would, when it has that draw, it's going to run like crazy. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the content, and take care now.